Hi everyone, welcome to the Day 3 preview for the Qatar Goodwood Festival. Graham Cunningham and John Blance as your guides today. Let's get straight into race 1. This is the 120 GMT. It is the Coral Cunningham Handicap, named after a legendary Hungarian international traveller. It's 2,000 metres, it's 3-year-olds, it's very competitive. Let's have a look at the runners and riders. Best Secret came from way back to finish third at Royal Ascot. Then we have the likes of Mahaba Gayath. He ran really well at Newmarket last time. Parole Duro, he's on the up, and he has Ryan Moore for the first time. Dante's Lad looks really tough, and he's looking for a hat trick here. Further down the card, we have the likes of Fort George, who seems a little bit tricky, but he ran well here last time. And then we have down at the bottom the likes of Best Adventure, who has got good form against older horses. That's a quick look at the race card. 2,000 meters. Let's have a look at the track map. It's a challenging course for horse and jockey. It's largely right-handed. It's uphill, then it's downhill. It's steeply downhill into the straight with a pretty stiff finish over the 2,000 meters. Let's get straight into this. John Blance, I know there are a few horses we could make a case for here. Let's have a look at Dante's Lad at York in May. This was a tough performance, and he just gives me the impression that he does enough off the bridle. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he's coming into the race in very good form. He followed this up with a win at Windsor. This was a good run because they went quite slow early here. They were really speeding up in the closing stages. Came home 109% of average speed. He's had to sort of move around to get a run. He's been a little bit ungainly, but when the question's been asked, he's found plenty and surged to the line. Followed up at Windsor. He'd probably want a strongish gallop, but he should get that here as well in what is a bigger field than usual for this race.
Yeah, he does. I think he does idle in front, and that's not a bad trait to have in a handicapper. I'm going to have a look at a horse called Fort George. This is his 2,000 meter debut, and I think it's probably going to suit him. We'll pick him up running an unusual race. This was Goodwood, the 23rd of May. He came here on the back of a Newmarket win where he finished very strongly. And then at Goodwood, he fell a neck short. But have a look at him in the straight. He just seems to run lazily. We can't say the track didn't suit him because he came home so strongly in the end. But he took his time to warm up. And that's a potential concern even over this longer trip. Will he be able to hold his position at a crucial point? John, any number of possibilities here. If you will, you're 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, well, I've got to have Fort George in. I mean, he was never on the bridle, really, in this race, but he did surge home. But I'm going to go with Dante's Lad on top. Ernst Blofeld, an old favourite of yours, Graham, ran very well 2 starts ago at Newbury in that competitive 3-year-old handicap. Attended a ridiculous pace in the Golden Gate Stakes last time out. Nice draw. I think he can go quite well. Best Secret, the French horse. I'm not entirely sure he's going to set up for a real deep close, and that's what he is, but he shouldn't be too far away. And Fort George in there for 4th. So 5, 11, 1 and 14 for me.
Good luck with those. Always important to grade your confidence in these races. I like a few of the handicaps on Thursday. This is one of the tougher ones. But number 4, Mahaba Gayath, has been progressing really well. He ran into a pretty good horse at Newmarket last time, but he kept battling, and he's uncomplicated. Should give you a good run. Number 7, Parole Doro, has Ryan Moore for the first time, and he also has 2,000 meters for the first time after just being beaten against the older horses at Newmarket. 1, Best Secret, might get a little way behind, but based on Ascot, he should be coming home strongly. And 5, Dante's Lad, looking for the hat trick and doing just enough. 4, 7, 1 and 5 in race 1. Race 2 on day 3 of the Qatar Goodwood Festival is a good 2-year-old race. It is the Markel Richmond Stakes Group 2 contest, downhill, uphill to finish on the 1,200 meters. Let's have a look at the race card. Top of the shop is Azazam, who comes here after a very good performance at Royal Ascot. But so does Koppel. If anything, he ran even better when staying on strongly, gallantly for 3rd in the Coventry Stakes. Havana Hurricane has been one of the bargain buys of the season. Really good form so far, over 1,000 meters. Further down the card, Maximized. Probably went a bit too hard last time. He has cheap pieces for the first time. Further down, he's a maiden, but he's an Aidan O'Brien maiden, Puerto Rico, and he ran very well against one of the best juveniles around. Underwriter has 2 wins and a poor performance at Royal Ascot. And further down, well, I think we can suggest that this is the main core here. Let's have a look at the race map. It's 1,200 meters. It's pretty straightforward, but it is a challenge because very soon after they jump from the stalls, they go sharply downhill into the dip, and the final furlong or so, last 200 meters, is uphill. Let's get straight into the key videos here. I think the horse with the best form in this race, John, is Koppel. Hong Kong bound David Probert rides for Clive Cox. This is a horse who had to work fairly hard first time at Leicester, but he went to Royal Ascot at a big price, and he ran a screamer in the Coventry Stakes. But we pick him up on his debut. What do you make of this run, John?
Yeah, well, he wasn't desperately strongly fancied for this either at Leicester, sent off at 14-1 from quite a big 2-year-old stable in Clive Cox, but he was prominent throughout. He won nicely, nothing more than that. But as you say, it was the Coventry Stakes performance where he blazed away and then battled really hard in the closing stages when he had every right to curl up. Although it was a very promising performance. Gets stall 8 on Thursday afternoon here at Goodwood as well. I think the nearer the grandstand rail, the better. It's not an exact science, but I'd rather a high draw than a low one. I think he's going to go very well indeed.
I think some horses run well big prices at Royal Ascot in the 2-year races, and they can be flattered picking up the pieces. Don't think there was any fluke about Coppell's performance. So he comes firmly into the reckoning here. I think he's potentially the best horse in this race. Let's pick up on some Epsom form. It was Derby weekend. It was the Woodcote Stakes. It was Maximised and Havana Hurricane. Both horses, John, emerged from this Woodcote with plenty of credit, I think.
They did, yeah. Maximised was wide round the turn into the straight, and he was on the speed. On the speed is generally where you need to be in these 6 furlong races at Epsom, but he's battled hard. Havana Hurricane came from off the pace, stayed on okay, but then just didn't quite go through with it in the end in terms of stamina. I think it just gave out. You can see why they went back to 5 furlongs with this horse, with plenty of success in the Windsor Castle and almost in the Super Sprint. Interesting, they've gone back to 6 now. Maximised went far too fast last time at Newmarket. I just prefer him over Havana Hurricane, but they both got solid chances.
Always have to respect Aidan O'Brien horses in big races. Puerto Rico is 0 from 3 so far, but he's shown a useful level of form. And here, he helped make the pace for a stablemate, True Love, who's one of the best around the moment. But John, I needed to see a little bit more from him here. Needed to see him last a bit longer to make him my top selection. Would you agree?
Yeah, because they didn't go particularly fast here. He made a fairly moderate gallop, and obviously True Love is just a very interesting recruit, to say the least, after a win at Royal Ascot as well. So Puerto Rico is clearly promising. Some good figures prior to this race as well. Got him in on a minor line, but not a major one.
This is going to be a pretty open betting race, I think. But we have Royal Ascot form to the fore. I suspect you're going to be going for a piece of that Royal Ascot form, John.
Yeah, I think that there's nothing you can really doubt about Coppell's Royal Ascot form. No holes you can pick in it. It was really strong effort. And as I say, high draw, early speed. He should go very well indeed. So 3 on top. Maximised just gets the nod over Havana Hurricane, but they're both very smart individuals. And Puerto Rico in there for 4. So 3, 6, 5 and 7 for me.
Now, Coppell is named after the next door village to where I live in Lancashire. So I've got a sentimental attachment. But the form is strong too. If he replicates his Royal Ascot form, he should run a major race, and he's got the speed to handle Goodwood well. Havana Hurricane has been crying out, I think, for this step to 1200. Egoli and Maximised, 3, 5, 4 and 6 for me. We're both on Coppell on top in the Richmond Stakes. Let's have a close look at race 3 on Thursday at the Qatar Goodwood Festival. This is the Hong Kong Jockey Club Whirlpool Gordon Stakes. Group 3, 3-year-olds, 1.5 miles, a race with a very rich heritage. Have a look. Highland Reel, Harbinger, Mogul won in Hong Kong, Cross Counter won a Melbourne Cup, and Jan Bruegel won this and then won the St. Leger. Need a good one to win this. A few good ones potentially in this. Number 1, Galveston, represents Aidan and Ryan Moore after a good performance in defeat at Royal Ascot. 2 Merchant could be all the rage. He was a dominant winner of a high quality handicap at the Royal Meeting. Rahib ran well behind Merchant at York, and he ran a belter at Royal Ascot, won 3rd over a longer trip. Further down, Sir Dinadan is interesting. He ran a very good race for a long way in the Irish Derby. Then we have the exposed and hard-pulling Wimbledon Hawkeye, and further down, a recent winner like Winlord, who has a Sheen Murphy on board. Track map, this is a challenge. It's not a large field, but you need a good athlete over the 1.5 mile track. 2,400 meters at Goodwood, lots of turns, lots of twists, lots of undulations, and a pretty stiff finish. Runners and riders done, track map done. Let's move straight in to the likely favourite here. We pick up Merchant in a handicap at York's May Meeting, John, which has worked out as a piece of extremely strong form. There he is, haloed Merchant. In the yellow colours on the outside is Rahib. Don't forget, John, Rahib was giving Merchant £8 here, but Merchant was firmly the best and went on from this performance to excel in victory in the King George V at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, and what those two victories show, Graham, is how versatile this horse is. He was drawn wide here, floated down into a prominent position, and has bossed the race from the head of affairs and won it very nicely. And then was dropped into a much more sort of mid-division hold-up position at Ascot in that King George V, which he won. There were whispers out about maybe a tilt at the King George, weren't there, after that race at Ascot? This is a perfect spot for him. You get a lovely pace setup as well. I think he's going to be staying on. There's some very good front runners and pace pressurizers in this race, but he might be able to go past them all.
Huge day for him. We must remember that he's still, and I say only, rated 103. That's not good enough to win an average renewal of this race, but he seems to be progressing in a hurry. My only objection to him, and it's a slight one, is he's likely to be a very short price here. So let's have a look at a few more potential strong contenders here. Winlord. This is Sandown, up in trip, a strong drive from Colin Keane, over 1.25 miles, and a drive that earned Colin Keane a suspension, John. That means he misses glorious Goodwood this year.
Yeah, there were 4 sub-12-second furlongs in the early part of this race over 10 furlongs, so they were tanking along. The second run a massive race as well, but Winlord in the end has worn down the long-time leader, and this was a good performance. He's going to be probably ridden quite prominently here, and with the likes of Galveston and Sedinadan going forward, there's going to be a lot of competition on the front end, but he knuckles down, he battles hard. This was a good performance.
I'm not sure he's a guaranteed stayer at 1.5 miles myself, but there he is, all out at Sandown. He'll need to be a better horse at this trip. I'm going to talk about a horse called Sedinadan now. I think this horse could be a danger to all here, even the favourite. I'm going to pick him up in the Irish Derby, and look at him here. He's trading blows with the Epsom Derby winner, Lambourne, and I think he pays a price for that, John. They go hammer and tongs for most of the straight, and I think Sedinadan paid the penalty. I thought he went like at least the third best horse in this race, and in the end he had to settle for 5th. He's got Goodwood form. He's down in class here from Group 1, and I think this is a horse who, with a slightly more conservative ride, I think he can give them all a go.
Yeah, the Coolmore really wanted to make this a test, didn't they, for Lambourne, and they did just that. They came up 99% of average speed, as you say. Sedinadan attended that pace the whole way around, battled on pretty well as well in that final half furlong, despite not being able to win. And I think, yeah, the current prices, he's great value. I've got him in on a second line. I think he'll go very well indeed.
Galveston seems to have improved of late. Let's pick him up when winning 2 starts back. He ran a very good race at Royal Ascot. Here he is in blinkers for the first time. He looks a pretty aggressive front runner, this fella, John. Is he quite good enough to win a Gordon Stakes?
Well, this was a beautiful ride from Wayne Lawton, because he got him out quickly and then slowed the race down and then quickened it again. It was almost like he was on Lambourne in the Derby. And this horse went on to win very well. He's got a rating of 106, so he's good enough to make his presence felt in this race. As I said before, there are quite a few front runners in this contest. He might be the one to go forward faster than all of them. So I think he's going to struggle to hang on. But again, there's some very good performances in this horse's CV, not least this one.
And Royal Ascot, he kicked clear off the bend in the King Edward VII. Couldn't quite sustain it. I do think he'll go forward. I do think he'll run well, but he's not my top one. I suspect you're with the Merchant again, John.
Well, I am, yeah. I take absolutely your point about the fact he might be a short price. He might be far too short on the World Pool as well. But I think with these front runners in the race, it's going to be set up perfectly for him just to sit in behind 5 or 6 lengths off them and then go on in the closing stages. So the 2 on top, Sedinadan in there for 2nd, Galveston in there for 3rd, and Windlord for 4th. Wimbledon Hawkeye might run a good race, but we've been saying that for a while. So he's been tossed, but if he did run a good race, he wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's all about price here. I suspect Merchant's going to be around even money, and he might bolt up. He could be that kind of good. But for value, I'll take my chances with number 4, Sedinadan, ahead of 2 Merchant, 1 Galveston, and 3 Rahib. That's the Gordon Stakes, all wrapped up. Highlight of day 3 at the Qatar Goodwood Festival is the Qatar Nassau Stakes. It's Group 1. It's 3-year-olds and upwards for fillies. It's 2,000 meters. And we only have 5, but it's a select 5. Let's have a look at them. 1 Running Lion is mercurial at best. When she's good, she's very good. When she's bad, she's horrid. Number 2, See the Fire, stacks up very well for this race. Only just beaten last year. She comes back a better filly this time around. Bedtime Story is a hard-pulling hold-up filly, and tactics are potentially very important for her. Number 4, Saseni, popped up in Group 1 company at a big price in the Coronation Stakes. She steps up in distance. And last, but by no means least, it is Whirl, who has blossomed this season. Runaway winner at York, excellent 2nd in the Oaks at Epsom, and a very good winner over Kalpana in the Pretty Polly at the Curragh last time. Quick look at the track map. 2,000 meters, the usual situation here, lots of turns, lots of challenges for riders as to when they make the move, downhill, steeply downhill into the straight, rising gradually from just approaching the furlong pole. So let's have a look at the videos for this. I think it makes sense to start with the likely hot favorite here. That hot favorite is Whirl, and we can pick her up not once, but twice. Let's pick her up at Epsom first, if we can, when she ran an excellent second behind her stablemate, Minnie Hawk, in the Oaks. Pick her up here, and this is what Whirl is good at, John. She gets out on the sharp end, and she finds, and she finds, and she finds. And it took a real good one, subsequent classic heroine, Minnie Hawk, to run her down over 1.5 miles.
Yeah, it was a great clash between the stablemates. Wayne Lorden dictated relatively slow sectionals in the early part of this race on Whirl, so she was entitled to stick around for a long time. But I really like the way she battled back there when Minnie Hawk came to win. As you've touched upon, Minnie Hawk has now gone on to do the Oaks double. Look at Whirl sticking the old neck out there down on the rail. Really, really tough in the closing stages. She almost battles back to win, just not quite good enough to beat the stablemate first two, clear of the rest.
Her heart is stout. Let's roll straight from that Epsom performance. Back in distance, but also Group 1 company. This is the Pretty Polly Stakes at the Curragh a few weeks ago, and look who's coming to call in the Juddmonte colours. That is Kalpana, who ran such a tremendous race for second in the King George at the weekend. And it looks for all money as if Whirl is going to have to settle for second here, but she's got the rail, she's got Ryan Moore, but most importantly of all, she's got tremendous courage, John, and she battles her way back to the front.
Yeah, she does, obviously getting plenty away from Kalpana, but the form has been somewhat frank since. It was another tremendous performance. Again, setting her own sectionals out in front, but it was a very good run. And if you go back to Musidora as well, that was a race where she was able to take a lead. She didn't have to lead there. They went quite quick, and she stayed on past the leaders. I think she's so versatile, she's so promising, so likable, and she's getting the weight concession. She's not going to be a great price, but she's my on-top horse.
Let's move on to another Irish rider, Saseni, for the Murphy family from Cork. They've been trying to win a Group 1 for decades. This wasn't the one, but it laid the foundations for Royal Ascot. Saseni runs a very good race to be placed in the Irish Guineas at a big price. She was an equally big price, if not bigger, at Royal Ascot when she outbattled Zaragana in the Coronation. Up in trip, John, by Australia, should get the trip. Question is she good enough to beat the big two?
She might be. It wouldn't be a surprise if she is. Obviously, as you say, by Australia, so the step up and trip shouldn't be a problem. This wasn't a bad effort at all in the Irish 1,000 Guineas. It wasn't an easy race to close off from a long way behind. And obviously, Lake Victoria is a very, very smart filly, to say the least. And it was a good run at Ascot because she was slowly away. She had to make ground into quite a strong pace on that occasion and still won. So, I think there's no doubts that she'll stay the extra 2 furlongs. Will she quite be good enough? I'm not sure, but she'll not be too far away.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Don't think she's good enough. There, I've said it. Let's move on to See the Fire. This is a filly who is good enough. Let's pick her up at York in May. Remember, she was second, very good second, staying on strongly in this race last year. Her dam, Arabian Queen, was third in this in 2015. The pedigree is made for a Nassau Stakes. Now, this wasn't the deepest Group 2 you'll ever see, John, but you don't see group races won like this very often. This gave a broad hint that See the Fire has come back better than ever in 2025.
Yeah, it was a tremendous performance, as you said, sitting off quite a strong gallop, but even accounting for that, this was still a very, very dominant display. I think run style-wise, you generally want to be quite prominent in Nassau Stakes. That's what history says. So if she gives Whirl a bit too much rope in the run, I fear for a little bit, but she's clearly a very, very high-quality performer.
Yeah, she went from there to Royal Ascot, and yes, she couldn't win the Prince of Wales Stakes, but she ran very well behind Ombudsman and Anmat, 2 of the best around in Europe at the moment. I like her chances here. I think she could represent value, and she's my main choice. So let's have a look, try and wrap up the Nassau Stakes, John. Again, it's about price. It's the Whirlpool. It's Ryan, Aiden, and it's Whirl.
I'm going to go with Whirl on top, Graham, horse number 5. 2 See the Fire in there for second, Saseni in for third, the 4, and the 3 Bedtime Story in for 4th. Very impressive winner of the Chesham, and 2 good runs in France this season. So 5, 2, 4, and 3.
I'm looking for value here. I think See the Fire is just good enough to give Whirl all the trouble she can handle. Aiden called Whirl the ultimate racing machine after the Curragh. Maybe she is. But See the Fire has a higher rating. She has pedigree in this race. I'm sure she's going to run well. She's on top, 2, 5, 1, and 4 with See the Fire and Whirl to dominate the Nassau. Here we go with race 5, day 3, Qatar Goodwood Festival. 5 furlongs, 1,000 meters downhill. It's the Buccellati Handicap. Lots and lots of speedy 3-year-olds here, including Ruby's Prophet, who goes very well on the track. Number 4, Get Ready to Rumble, is an improver. Looks bound to run a good race. Likewise, number 5, Nad El Sheba Green. Those two tying closely from a Sandown race. The Man, number 2 on the race card, came back from a break with a really good win at York. Marty Hopkirk is progressive. Likewise, Dan Tucker. As you can see, plenty of interesting horses in the top of this race card. Further down, we've got the likes of Star Chorus, who's got pretty good form. Sylvester de Souza for Andrew Balding. And Wheels of Fire, drawn 12 for Sam Hitchcock and Richard Hannon. The track map is very straightforward. It's Blinkle, you miss it. 55, 56 seconds downhill with an uphill finish. Let's get straight into the videos here, John. Ruby's Prophet is not flashy. She's aggressive, she's consistent, and she runs well at Goodwood.
She certainly does. She blazed away 45 miles per hour she touched here on this piece of VT. And you thought she'd get reeled in after those really, really hot early sections, but she didn't. And that shows you that on the speed is still where you need to be in these sorts of races. I think there will be 1 or 2 that envelop her in the closing stages, but I've got her in on a minor line, Ruby's Prophet. Nana's Sparkle ran really well too, just off that speed. She's nicely handicapped vis-a-vis Ruby's Prophet. I think she can go well too. So 2 horses on this piece of VT that have got very good chances.
And 3 from right is Star Chorus, who gets outpaced, then stays on well in the closing stages, has gone on to win at Chepstow. Ruby's Prophet ran really well after this at Epsom, found Ascot a bit too stiff last time, but Goodwood seems a very happy hunting ground for her. I think we're going to look at a couple of really interesting horses now. The first one is Get Ready to Rumble, who is lightly raced, and I think this horse is going places. Pick him up here against another of Thursday's rivals. Look at the way he travels in the yellow jacket, bang in the middle of your screen. Just to the right is Kinetic Force, who's another solid player here, but I really like the way Get Ready to Rumble performed here. He was still an immature horse at this time, and I think you can see, John, he's learning on the job, but he takes the measure of Kinetic Force, then seems to idle a bit. Solid performance from him, and if anything, I thought he polished his reputation the next time out. We're going to roll straight from this into Sandown, good quality sprint handicap. We're going to look at Nad El Sheba Green finishing second to Kaseya, and in behind, again in the yellow jacket, Get Ready to Rumble. Watch him closely, entering the final furlong. He jumps the path. In behind, Nad El Sheba Green runs on strongly to get the better of the battle for second. Horse on the right in the Juddmonte colours is Kaseya, back from a long break. She was very well handicapped. Have to think, John, this is a key piece of form as regards Thursday's race.
Yeah, it is. Get Ready to Rumble. Didn't quite make the shortlist for me, but wasn't too far away. Yeah, does the old Dejour impression here very shortly as well, as you'll see, and obviously takes away the momentum. Nad El Sheba Green, though, absolutely thundering up. There goes Get Ready to Rumble. And yeah, Nad El Sheba Green getting going from the back. That one will sit off the pace a little bit further, but they really are going to motor here. There's no doubt about it. I've got Nad El Sheba Green just above Get Ready to Rumble, but there's not a huge amount between them.
This is a cracking handicap. I like the shape of it from a betting point of view. So give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, John Blance, please.
I like the Man. Horse number 2 here was a really good run at York. The absolute perfect race set up for this. Gate 9 is fine as well. Nana's Sparkle and Ruby's Prophet from that piece of VT that we saw. Nad El Sheba Green in there for 4th. But there's some real exotic potential here as well. A lot of the speed is drawn low here. That might be the way to go.
I wonder why the Man's been off for 11 weeks since his York win. So I'm going to pass on him. I'm keen on this race. I think it's got a nice betting shape. 4, 5, 7, and 3. Get Ready to Rumble and Nad El Sheba Green firmly on top for race 5 on day 3. Time to have a close look at race 6 on Thursday at Goodwood. This is the Phase 8 Nursery Handicap. It's 2-year-olds. It's very competitive. It's over 1,400 meters. It is a tough track for the 2-year-olds. This very quickly into a downhill turn. Not much room in a big field and a testing finish. Often throws up hard luck stories. But we've got interesting horses here. American Gulf tops the weights. Good first time out, in too deep in the Coventry at Royal Ascot. Number 2, Hey True Blue. This is a really progressive horse, and I think he might be ahead of the handicapper. 2-2-2 are the form figures for Victoria 1. Goldwork has decent Goodwood form. Sir Albert is thriving after a couple of wins. Further down the card, Champion Island ran very well behind Sir Albert last time. And down at the bottom, Gascony hasn't won yet, but is knocking on the door. Over to you, John Blance. The first horse we're going to look at here is a horse who's definitely on the upgrade at the moment. This is Amazing Journey. We pick him up at York over 1,200 meters.
Yeah, and was quite slowly away and has come through to run a really good race in the latter stages. So I think the step up to 7 furlongs is going to be absolutely ideal. Obviously, you're talking about confidence and how confident you are in a race from a betting perspective. This will be quite low on my level of confidence, but I do think Amazing Journey on this evidence, what we're seeing here, 1,400 meters is ideal. And this was a good effort to finish in the way that it did. And yeah, going to be the on-top selection for me.
Looks ready for the step up to 1,400 meters. Look at the way he knuckles down. Didn't have a lot in hand, but the extra distance might unlock some more improvement. Let's move on to goal work. Always good to have some course form. It wasn't a big field, and it wasn't the round course when goal work won his maiden here. As you can see, he got a bit warm. As you can see, he traveled nicely on the outside, and he showed a good attitude to get the better of some reasonable horses. But there's a but. There's always a but. He went to Newbury, John. He was 4-7 on his first start after this, and he didn't really live up to expectations when beaten at 4-7. So the Goodwood form is a plus, but the last run was a bit of a head scratcher. What do you think of him?
It was, yeah. It wasn't as good as it really should have been, given the price and given this piece of form, which was good. I'm willing to keep him on side, have him in the numbers here, but that was a bit of a concern last time out. Yeah, it's got a solid enough chance, but there are so many with sort of 50, 60, 70% chances in this. It's rather confusing.
I'm not confused. I've got one for you here. But on to Gascony first, who's getting there bit by bit. He moved into handicap company at Leicester last time. I think almost certainly this is his personal best. We see him in the historic Sangster colours on the far side, and he runs a belter.
He does, yeah. And this was a much better effort. This was first time up in a handicap, and they went strong early. And again, look here, you're thinking, well, yes, they've won a good gallop. He's attended it, and therefore is going to get tired. But battles back really well. And the first two kick on from the rest as well. The form's worked out okay too. Bottom weight, so theoretically the worst horse in the race, but gets the weight allowance because of that. I can see this one running quite well. I've got him in on a minor line.
Okay, that is Gascony. As you can see, he just gets done in a tight finish, but he's clear of the remainder. Stiff finish seemed to suit him. Here's my selection. I'm going to make the case for Hey True Blue. It's Boffy and it's Billy, George Boffy and Billy Lochnan. This horse he could be really well handicapped. He costs plenty of money. He's well bred by Blue Point. He made a very good start to his career. Then he went up in class massively for the Norfolk Stakes at Royal Ascot, and he just wasn't quite good enough. But he came back to form last time with a really sound, solid, emphatic win in a novice race at Doncaster. And I think he might be nicely ahead of the handicapper here. Very keen on this horse. You have to grade your confidence. I'm confident that we've got the right one in 2, Hey True Blue. 7, Amazing Journey. The York win reads pretty well. 5, Sir Albert has been thriving and got the better of a good duel at Chester last time with Champion Island, one of those he beat. 2, 7, 5, and 8. But in reality, it's all about Hey True Blue for me in the Nursery at Goodwood on Thursday.
I want to go with Amazing Journey on top up in trip. Think will go very well. Gascony, as I say, that was by far that horse's personal best last time and can build on that. Sir Albert in for 30. It was a good run at Chester last time. Don't worry about that. And Goldwork in for 4th. So 7, 11, 5, and 4.
Race 7 on an 8-race card at Goodwood this Thursday is a juvenile maiden race for fillies. It's 1,400 meters. It has a pretty strong history. This tends to be won by a filly with experience. Not always, though. Let's have a look down the race card. Number 1, Aylin, cost a great deal of money, and she shaped with plenty of promise first time at York. We'll see her in a moment. Bridley was a big price for her Kempton debut, but she ran really well, and she's likely to progress for that. Number 6, Dictat, is a Frankel filly who hasn't quite lived up to expectations, but she now moves up in distance. She has a tongue tie for the first time. Ice Sovereign showed some ability first time, along with Isle of Fernandez. And further down, we have a very interesting one, or maybe 2, in the Wathnan colours. 14, a well-bred newcomer for William Haggis and Tom Marquand. That's Proposal. And number 15, Quiescent. James Doyle seems to have chosen her ahead of Proposal, but we'll see about that. Track map. Straightforward. We've already seen it once. It's the 1,400 meter, very swiftly into a right downhill turn, into the dip, out of the dip, and an uphill finish. Big field of inexperienced horses can be all too challenging for some of them. But Aylin is a natural starting point. Carl Burke, David Egan in the Ammo Racing colours, cost a good deal of money. and over 1,200 metres first time at York. Looked a winner waiting to happen, John?
Yeah, I like this performance a lot. Swerved out the gates and then sort of incrementally made ground into this race while the race was quickening up as well. So it wasn't an easy trick to pull off this. And yeah, wasn't quite able to seal the deal in the end, but it was a very promising effort. Certainly one that I think without the slightly eccentric start and not the less than ideal pace setup, I think that she can go very well. So she's going to be on top of me. This is the piece of form of the horses that have it that is probably the best.
Yeah, and the third and fourth horses, you can see, beaten on merit on the day, have both run pretty well. Nothing flash, but they've both upheld the form. So it looks as if this filly's ready for a step up to 1,400. Let's move on to a filly who ran plenty of promise at Newmarket last time. This is Quiescent. She is the mount of James Doyle in the Wathnan colours. She's by Pinatubo, second on this Newmarket debut behind right of picture Moon Target, Sir Mark Prescott newcomer who looks potentially very useful. Look at this though. She missed the break quite badly, Quiescent, and she hung badly left. Real signs of greenness off the bridle. But she did stay on for second. She ought to improve, but she can't afford to miss the break and run green round Goodwood. That is a recipe for major problems. So there we go. We've seen a couple of key galloping clues, John. I'm going to make the case for the other Wathnan horse for the moment. It's Proposal. It's William Haggis. It's a Frankel filly who's got a really good pedigree, and she also has a Lowther entry. Touched on trends for this race, generally won by a horse who's run before, but not always. And the trainer who has saddled the most recent newcomer to win this race was, you've guessed it, William Haggis a few years ago. So Proposal is one to keep a close eye on for me. But let's wrap it up, John. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the fillies maiden.
Yeah, it's a pretty open and shut case in terms of the form on show. Aylin's got the best of that. Horse number 1 for me. 18, Uncertainty, aptly named for this race. Stayed on very well at Newbury. I was there that day, and it was an eyebrow-raising performance. Quiescent in there for third. Needs to be straighter and true, but she can be. And then obviously Proposal in there for fourth. 320 grand from the old Wathnan biscuit tin.
It's a bit of an educated guess. Maybe not so educated, actually. But William Haggis has won this race recently with a newcomer. And significant that he wants to run Proposal with the Lowther entry when Wathnan also have Quiescent in the field. Market will be intriguing, but this is a filly with plenty of potential, and Haggis does not waste Group 2 entries. 14 Proposal, 1 Aylin, 15 Quiescent, and 6 Dictal. 7 of 8 done on day 3 at Goodwood. Race 8 of 8 on day 3 at glorious Goodwood. The Qatar Goodwood Festival is over a mile. It's the Whirlpool bet with the tote handicap. 3-year-olds rated 0 to 90 and is a challenging 1,600 meters. Uphill, down dale, strongly descending right-hand turn. Lots and lots of runners, and they are very closely matched. Let's have a look down the card. 1, Antipodes, has got better with every run. He's got top weight. 2, We Dare to Dream, went past the post first at Haydock. The stewards had other ideas and they demoted him to second. 5, Point of Contact for Andrew Balding, was a bit unlucky in the We Dare to Dream race at Haydock. Seaforce has cheek pieces for the first time, but his form is pretty strong and he represents Marquand and Haggis. Further down, Cavolo Nero was really good here 2 starts back. Didn't quite build on that last time, but he's back at Goodwood. Abundance is looking for a hat trick. Transparent is consistent, and further down, number 14, Wicked, has cheek pieces for the first time after showing improved form to win at Sandown last time. Let's pick up a few of these, John. The first one we're going to look at, I think, is Cavolo Nero, and it's all about Goodwood form with him. When he came to Goodwood in the spring, he looked really useful.
Yeah, this is a lovely performance. Came from last to first. Not an easy trick to pull off in the closing stages here at Goodwood under these circumstances. And then, as you say, went to Newmarket. It was a little bit disappointing. Really fancied him that day and sort of loomed up, but wasn't quite able to go through with it. I'm going to give him another chance here back at Goodwood. He is a hold-up horse. He's got gate 1. Now, gate 1 for a hold-up horse isn't always ideal, but I'm hoping he might be able to position up a little bit closer than he did that day. And with a bit of luck in running, if he comes home like he did here, he's going to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, he was only 6th at Newmarket, but I can't believe that was the best of Cavolo Nero. And back at Goodwood, I think he has to be in the reckoning here. I know you like a horse called Wicked, John. He ran into a good one in Bedouin Prince 2 starts ago. Last time, handicap debut at Sandown. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't smooth, but he eventually got the job done, and it's intriguing to see that he's going to have cheek pieces on for the first time on Thursday.
Yeah, they went a really strong gallop on that occasion as well, and he sat off it and came home really well. Came home eye-catchingly well, actually. There's going to be a strong gallop here, though. That'll suit Cavallo Nero, but I think it'll also suit Wicked, so they're both in the numbers for me.
Okay, just wrap it up, John. This is the last race of 8 on Thursday. It's a tight handicap. Give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, if you will.
Yeah, Cavallo Nero on top, horse number 8. Wicked, horse number 14 for second. Warsox, a Norwegian horse, ran a really good race in the Golden Gate Stakes at Ascot, and I think from a low draw can go quite nicely. And Antipodes, the top weight, in for 4th. So 8, 14, 3 and 1.
I'll say you should grade your confidence. I really don't have a great deal of confidence in this nightcap. It's an extremely tough puzzle. But Seaforce has some useful form, also has some cheap pieces for the first time. He should give you a good run. His old rival, Antipodes, they fought out a very good finish at Nottingham in the spring. Top weight, but he should go well. 18 Canvas will be a big price, but he's dead consistent and uncomplicated. And 8 Cavallo Nero back at Goodwood. 6, 1, 18 and 8 in a very difficult finale on day 3.